Hi, and welcome to the Bestie Perspective, a raw, unfiltered space where we explore the mind-body-spirit connection. Every Wednesday, we dive into personal growth, holistic healing, and life's ups and downs to inspire, support, and remind you you're never alone on this journey. Hey besties! Welcome back to the Bestie Perspective. In this episode, we're diving into manifestations and goals for 2025, reflecting on our personal transformations over the past year, and exploring the powerful questions that can help us set aligned intentions. We'll share what's shifted in our lives, the lessons we've learned, and how we're stepping into 2025 with purpose. Reflecting on our growth helps us recognize how far we've come, celebrate our wins, and learn from our challenges. It allows us to move forward with clarity and purpose rather than carrying old patterns into a new season. Setting clear intentions for 2025 gives us a roadmap for our manifestations, helping us align our energy, actions, and mindset with the life we want to create. When we take the time to reflect and set intentions, we're not just wishing for change, we're actively making space for it. So grab a cozy drink, get comfy, and let's get into it. Before we dive into all the reflections and intentions, let's start with a quick check-in. If you had to choose one word to capture how you're feeling about stepping into 2025, what would it be and why? Hannah, why don't you start us off?
Well, I gave this one some thought, and the word that came to mind for me is rooted, because we're finally settling down into our space in Dominican Republic, and it's been a little bit over a year now, so it feels like home already. It felt like home immediately as soon as we got here, but still a little ungrounded, and now that it's been a little over a year, it feels like everything's starting to settle down and rooted. What about you, Aylen?
That feels so right for you too, Hannah. I love it. Right?
It does.
So my word was evolved, or my theme, if you will, was evolution for me. I had so many firsts in 2023, and then starting in the beginning of 2024, I became a mom. January 7th, y'all, started out the gate. With something very, very new and very important. So my, evolution as a mother, as a wife, and just a person in general, and someone that brings creation into the world in the sense of being a mother, but just in the sense of manifestation in general. 2024 for me was all about evolving.
That's right. I can't believe that she's over a year old now.
I know.
Flies.
Isn't that crazy? And just even all her little stepping stones. There were stepping stones for me along the way in each milestone for her. Yeah.
Sometimes it just hits me too. I'm like, that's right. Aylen's a mom. It's like you forget sometimes. And you're like, damn, you're a whole ass mom.
Let me tell you, it really does change you through and through. So here we are, 2025, an evolved woman in more ways than one.
That's awesome. My word is inspired. I chose inspired because I came into 2025 like finally realizing that I wanted to be a life coach. So I think I just came in seeing all this opportunity and feeling like all this good, potent energy out there, and just motivated by my goals, my dreams, and just like feeling success at my fingertips. It just like finally felt like the missing puzzle pieces were coming together for me. So I think I just came in with this very inspired energy and just like excitement to see what 2025 unfolds for us.
Bring it on, 2025.
I know. Let's see what you got here. Okay, so let's kick things off with a little reflection. who we were at the start of 2024 and who we are now. Let's each share one key transformation from the past year. So why don't you start this one off, Aylen?
So I will say my key transformation, it's a very general one. And it has to do with my thoughts and emotions, but my specific relationship to them. I have become so aware and have been able to stop thoughts earlier on before I get into that spiral. We all know the spiral that gets us down in the dumps or gets us on a path, a track to thinking negatively or just pessimistic or however you want to describe it. I really dove into paying attention to what I was thinking several times, as much as possible throughout the day. And then with my emotions, I had this transformation of allowing as well as not giving it power as to identify who I am. And that's huge. That has been a game changer for me because I can apply this transformation to any area of my life now. So a win for me, big time. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's really, really cool. And I can't wait to share with our listeners, with you guys, with my clients, friends and family, whoever wants to listen and hear about what I've been doing specifically to thoughts and emotions. I'm ready to share. It's been very cool.
I cannot wait because I feel like you were the first person who started to bring the idea of catching and recognizing thoughts to me. Like just bringing that awareness to our thoughts or especially emotions as well. Like when something feels super triggering, like actually slowing down and being like, okay, I'm feeling this. Is it mine? I know that's one question we ask, right? And also just seeing what's bringing it up or where we're feeling it in our bodies. So I think I'm excited to hear more, especially if you've been perfecting that craft over there.
Let me tell you, that it was like a level up, the transformation. So it's great that you bring up the point that, we've kind of started that conversation years ago. And wow, you bring up that I've been, I guess, fine tuning, if you will. So yeah. So there was a jump this past year then. Yeah. Awesome. So
that's great. Yeah. I can't wait to hear.
And what about you, Hannah?
To boil it down, it's kind of difficult to say it just as one key transformation. But okay, so compared to where I was at a year ago, at the beginning of 2024, I had literally just moved to DR. I was fresh meat to all the mosquitoes. I was super new.
They said, "Oh, American blood."
I'm not kidding because now I'm old news. They don't really bother me that much. And I swear it's because I was new. Anyways.
That's so funny.
So I was brand new and, I felt pretty lonely at the time, which, I'll get into a little bit later when we talk about the chat, some other things. But I think my transformation was just learning the ways that I needed to show up for myself because no one was coming to fix anything for me. Anywhere where I wasn't feeling my best or feeling some sort of undesirable state, no one was going to come fix it for me. So I think really just taking ownership for my life was a transformation here.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
so it's
big.
This self-reliance was just pumped up a notch or several notches, it sounds like.
Yes, because there was so many things that we just had to figure out along the way and pick up. How does that saying go? You pick yourself up by your bootstraps and hit the road, get going.
Hannah's been into some country vibes today,
there
guys.
Was a lot of
I know. That's the second country reference comment in the last 30 minutes.
We started this podcast here, folks. Maybe she's going to send us off with a country note too.
Oh my gosh.
Just feeling those Georgia vibes.
Oh my goodness. Heavens to Betsy. I have loads and loads. Maybe, well, long story short, I have a psychic friend and she's been connecting me with my dad's mom a lot lately and sending me a lot of signs. And I really she is the most Southern belle that there ever was, my grandmother. And I don't know, that just kind of hit me. I was like, that really did come out of nowhere, but she's been really present around me lately. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
She wants to be part of this, guys. I think she's saying hello.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just to circle back, I think there's a lot of things that you just have to figure out when you're when you're introduced to a completely different culture. Everything is so different here. I wouldn't even know where to begin to describe the details. That would probably take way too long, but just know that it's so different. And I think the challenge of that and just figuring it out along the way and building that trust in yourself of hey, no one's going to come do this for you. You have support. Jason has family here that does support us. And luckily they have wonderful friends that are family too. So that's made it a lot easier. But on the day to day, it's up to us. It's up to me to learn how to speak Spanish. I can't just sit on autopilot all the time. I have to ask and be engaged in the conversations and ask to translate and be oh, I haven't heard that word before. What's that one? So even when I felt like crap after work sometimes, just wanting to zen out and not do anything, I was still on and pushing myself because I want the life here to work and I want to feel not so lonely. And part of that is being able to talk and connect with people. So yeah, that was my one key transformation, I'd say, is adjusting to life here and figuring it out.
I definitely have to say, from being in your cheer peanut gallery on the side, you've been doing such an amazing job. Because I swear, when we're on FaceTime sometimes and then we're having a conversation in English and then you just turn to the side and you're having a completely Spanish conversation and then you're back to us and I'm oh my gosh, listen to you go. I know that you were nervous about making that transition at first just because specifically where you live, it's pretty much completely Spanish speaking, not a super touristy area where you have a lot of English speakers too.
Right. Right. And also, if any of our listeners know, Dominican Spanish can be really country. Think of the equivalent of Georgia or hillbilly, up in the mountains, but in Spanish.
So that's where all of your country vibes are coming from, Hannah. It's making sense.
Yeah.
I'm just a country girl no matter where I go.
Say, we could have fun and play with leaving out Lauryn and speaking Spanish. But if we start talking, me with my mom's background in Argentina, we might be speaking two different languages in and of itself, being that Dominican Republic has a very, very different style.
But I may not be able to speak it as fluently anymore, but I think I'd get the gist of what you guys were talking about if you were trying to talk shit behind my back in Spanish.
Abort.
I mean, just kidding. I won't know it all. But anyway, I will hop into mine. I think my one key transformation this year is becoming a better boundary setter. You both know that that's been something that's been a thing for me for a few years, just challenging my people pleaser tendencies and that type of thing. So I feel in the past year, a big transformation for me has been feeling more comfortable stating my boundaries and what I want and don't want and not feeling bad about it. Because I think for a long time, when I was practicing that boundary setting, I would get this gut punch and this like, oh, like it was so hard for me to do it. Where now it's almost I wouldn't even say almost, it is a relief when I do it. It almost feels like I get the gut punch if I hold back and I don't set a clear boundary. So it's so funny that like boundaries went from like this thing that felt so scary, not to say it's always easy, because it's not always easy, but like it went from this thing that's always scary to this thing that I'm feeling comfort from now. So definitely, I think that really stepping into the comfort of setting my boundaries, I think has been a key transformation for me this year.
Oh,
That was definitely a big one
Yeah.
for you. And I'm so proud to see you do that, because in some ways, like, it was like hurting me almost to see you at times when you were like letting people cross over your boundaries, or just putting you in a place that maybe felt uncomfortable. Obviously, I don't want to see my bestie feel like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Yeah. And
it's been amazing to
I
witness.
also have really enjoyed that when you have, let's say, Lauren, you specifically place a boundary with someone and you realize nothing, like the world didn't crumble, guys. Like she would get so excited about. So it's like, as big of a deal as it was, like Lauren, you really learned how easy it can be at the same time. That was like really cool for me to witness.
Yes. Oh, thanks. Couldn't have done it without y'all's support. Seriously, because it's scary kind of navigating through. Like when you never stand up for yourself or speak what's truly on your mind, or like, stating a boundary that you have, it's a scary thing to do and verbalize. And so with both of your support, it helped me be able to do that. So thank you. A little moment of gratitude.
We're proud of you, girl.
But yeah, just thanks. It definitely, I feel like more aligned with who I am deeper to my core now, I think, now that I more regularly set those boundaries. So that's been kind of cool to witness within too. So as we look ahead, it's just as important to honor where we've been. So now let's take a moment to reflect on a challenge we overcame in the past year and what it taught us. I'll start us off for this one. So for me, this has been a kind of crazy year because I feel like at the beginning, or, a year ago in 2024, like I was having this like, what the hell is my purpose? Identity crisis kind of situation going on. Just really feeling that difficulty after stepping out of nursing to know what I wanted to do with my life. Because I think for me, like the plan was pretty laid out for me in college. So when I stepped off that path, it left me confused and unsure of where I was even going next, because it's like you have this, okay, I'm going to college, I'm going to be a nurse, and that's it, right? Like you didn't have to you didn't give any other thought to like anything besides that. So when that was taken out of the equation, it really threw me for a loop. You kind of just sit back and you're like, wait, I haven't actually sat here and thought about, truly, truly what brings me joy. So knowing my purpose really plagued me for a while, and in a sense became a block for me. So one day I realized that I was getting caught up on timing, which I think we can all relate to, getting caught up on timing in different situations, where I finally was like, wait, I'm like, now, I need my purpose now, right? And I finally realized like, I don't have to have my purpose figured out this exact moment. And I reflected on what I contribute in general as a person. So some things that came up for me were inspiring people to reach their dreams, providing a positive outlook, non-judgmental listening, a source of joy, right? And I realized that this is a beautiful way that I contribute to people's lives as a person, and that having a laser-focused purpose didn't matter so much. And I think reflecting on what I contribute as a person, I think that it like not holding myself to a label really was powerful for me, because it like released that block that I had and really opened me up to any possibilities. Like, I'm more than this label of nursing or, a career woman or whatever it is, and realizing that I actually have a lot of inherent value as a person and with the unique qualities that I bring to the table. And that, just being myself is actually my purpose because the things that I bring is uniquely Lauryn, and I think who I am in essence is actually my purpose, which has led me to coaching in the past year. And now I get to live a life that's aligned with my purpose and help others to do the same thing. So I think that's been a really cool thing to experience in this year time, was just like feeling like I had absolutely no idea where I was going, realizing that I've had this in me the whole time, right? And I was kind of being my own block to thinking I had to have this really specific thing picked out at a certain timeline and whatever. And now when I like stepped back and slowed down and just got more connected with the value that I bring as a human being, it allowed me to open up to possibilities and find coaching as a path for myself. So that was for me. How about you, Hannah?
Well, okay, so at the beginning of 2024, I think the biggest thing that I overcame was the feeling of loneliness and feeling so far away from friends and family. And like, I know I've told you this before, Lauryn, but thank God for modern technology and like FaceTime and Zoom dates.
Definitely.
Because we literally talked about that during one of our Zoom combos when I first moved here, because I was like reflecting on how our ancestors who moved from Europe to the United States or from like the islands to the United States, like, you're lucky probably if you got a letter, every so often. So that really humbled me.
Definitely.
And yeah, like everything was new, the culture, the language, the pace of life, the way people connected. And I was surrounded by love. So I don't want people to think like I was lonely and like isolated from everybody. But I mean, there's always big meals. You have people around you who love you, and there's always conversation going on. But I couldn't understand, most of what was being said. And I had to ask Jason to translate every single interaction. And that's not always fun when people are joking around and you miss the joke.
So it's like even with people, you were still feeling lonely in a way.
Yes. Yeah. So that's where my value for long distance connection really came into connecting with friends and family, because even though I was surrounded by all of those people, I couldn't connect in the way that I desired. And so obviously the hard work of like every day, like tuning into like practicing the language and sounding like a complete idiot probably, but just letting go of my ego there and be like, hey, you're never perfect at something new that you try. And like when they have the energy, like they'll correct you and like help you learn the language a little bit more correctly or fluently to the area, I guess, so to say, just to be a little bit more cultured to the mountain life and the way that they talk here in specific. So,
hola, y'all. No, just kidding.
So, I mean, learning the language was one thing, and you joke about that, Lauryn, but seriously, they just say some funny things sometimes. And then the other thing that I did to help work through that challenge was just increase my presence with myself and like learn to be comfortable in my own presence and being and connecting with my spiritual side as well, because that is what kept me grounded and helped me feel like on a really deep level that I was not alone. So it's just kind of hard for me to put into words, but like discovering yourself, or the whole journey of self-discovery, is something that I've been on for a long time, but I feel like being alone has really connected me with myself on deeper levels than I had experienced before. So, I mean, wasn't the route that I thought would take me there, but here we are. And every day I'm growing even more in that connection. So that's something I'm really grateful for to take away from that challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like when you couldn't connect with anybody else the way that you wanted to, you turned to yourself and put that like love, energy, and connection you were wanting into you, which in turn, like you're saying, had that benefit of giving you a stronger connection to yourself and your spirituality, and setting kind of the things that you've been working on for years into motion in a bigger way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also don't want our listeners to think I have everything figured out. I definitely don't. But um, I there's some real value in like being able to set time aside for yourself and connect with yourself in that way. Like on a level, I didn't understand that really before, because I always had things planned, stuff to do with friends, family, or work when I was living back in the States. But, you know, with such a different culture and way of living here, there's always like people around. But I think just the circumstances I was in, where I didn't understand the language, like spending time alone was pretty much an option a lot of the time. So I was just like, well, how do I want to keep myself company?
Yes.
That was for me. What about you, Aylen?
Well, and before I give mine, I feel like I love how the both of you, it's still just self-discovery and coming back to self. How, you know, Hannah, yours was being with yourself and being okay with that. And Lauryn, it was more like, it's been within me the whole time, kind of discovery. Like, it's me. I like the self-discovery in both of those stories is great. And for me, I've warned my besties I'll get emotional. So my challenge that I overcame was saying or giving my foster son back. I fostered my nephew, and for any of you foster moms or foster dads out there, my heart goes out to you, because it's really something beautiful to love a child as your own when you have not birthed them. So more power to everyone that adopts and fosters and does all of that. But that was a really, really, really hard thing to do. And what was really interesting was, and it was beautiful at the same time, some people told me incorrectly, but they told me, you're going to have your own kid though. It's going to feel different, wait till you have your own kid. And it didn't. But the beauty in that, it says that I really loved him like a mother, should love a child. And so there's something really beautiful in uncovering that and discovering that I loved my nephew like he was my own. And I shouldn't even use past tense, because it's not like even though he's not with me physically, it's not like he's not with me at the same time. So I also, in that same challenging situation, had to overcome the, I guess, or disconnect from toxic family, or from family that either they ghosted me, or the feeling was, I guess, mutual, if you will. And so just to, out of respect for, any family that may be listening, that I'm just going to use discernment. So listeners, you may be like, what's happened? What exactly is she talking about? And, I may divulge more later in future podcasts, but I think my challenge to overcome that loss while at the same time getting to know my newborn, because she was 10 days old when he left. So I have postpartum hormones, I have breastfeeding hormones, I have figuring out all of that new world, and then figuring out, the time to deal with that loss was incredible, to say the least. But I will say it also taught me that I don't have to tap into that love in person. And maybe, Hannah, that could relate to you in the distance aspect that I'm speaking of, that I can, bring him into my present moment internally whenever I want. And that discovery was pretty powerful. So, yeah, that's mine. Excuse my tears, folks, but we keep it raw and authentic here.
Yes, thank you for sharing that, Aylen, because I know that it was challenging to talk about, but I'm sure all the listeners, along with us, appreciate your vulnerability and your rawness.
Thank you for saying so.
Yeah. I was just going to say, everything that you have shared with us, even more, off of the podcast, it gave me an even deeper respect and admiration for you, because it was really fucking hard what you had to go through. And if there's anybody out there listening that is going through the same thing, or somebody that's going through the same thing, I think just hearing that the story, to let them know that they're not alone, is so powerful. And that the acknowledgement that it is really hard, and that maybe the things that people will tell you it will be like from the outside really might not be true for you.
Yeah.
So I think just honoring that.
That piece is very real. Yeah, absolutely. And I do appreciate this platform and you ladies holding space with me for it, because we do want to connect to anybody that can relate to these stories. So I hope, whoever's out there that has any kind of similar or relatable feelings to what we share knows they're not alone.
I also just want to highlight just the beauty and the power of love and the level of love that you learn to experience through him and because of him, and that was before you birthed a child on your own. You learned to love a baby as your own. And I think that's just so beautiful, because not everyone can even do that. I mean, I think people can hold like love in their hearts for children, of course, and some people do, love them as deeply as you loved him, but it's not easy. And to do that while being pregnant and while having your own baby, it, like Hannah said, it was a lot. And it was a challenge, and you did it, girl. You did it. You stuck through it, and witnessing just your transformation, like you were talking about kind of witnessing ours a minute ago. And it's like, oh my gosh, like when I think about, the person you were even a year ago, right? And it's like your evolution that you talked about and how much you had to learn and grow and adapt and change because of the hardship that you went through. I mean, it really pushed you into a better version of yourself.
Totally. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you both for the acknowledgement.
Definitely. Well, now that we've shared those transformations with each other, let's dive into some of the unexpected shifts that came along the way, whether in our mindset, our habits, relationships, or even career paths. So if you're up for sharing first, Aylen, were there any unexpected shifts that you had?
Absolutely. Okay. So it goes hand in hand with the family situation. It was another unexpected, beautiful, I will say, relationship shift in my mother. And so my mom and I had to separate from her for just my own well being. And, sometimes the title family member doesn't make a person less toxic. And there's a lot of people out there that can relate to the pressure of keeping someone in your life just because they're family, even though they're hurting you, even though they're, whatever, on drugs or it doesn't matter the level of toxicity. But, the whole idea that blood is thicker than water and that sort of thing, um, there's that pressure. And so I got to a place several years back to where I know I actually had to remove myself and not speak to my mother for a bit. And I am happy to say that it's been a beautiful reunion. Oh my gosh, my daughter loves her Nana. And I'm so proud of my mother because she did the work. Like, I had to step away and not to say, you get yourself right until then, I'm not talking to you or anything. No, I just had to, without any expectation. And at the same time, continue to do the internal work involving that relationship without her involved. Like, I still got to a place, I continued that work by myself, and I would send her love. I was full blown forgiveness in her without speaking to her, and I would just send her love in my mind, or I would talk to her on occasion just mentally that way. And lo and behold, when she returns, we reconnected because my husband was the one to actually reach out. But I found out she did the work. She got help. She um, got what she needed, and she's in such a healthy place in her life. I'm so proud of her if she's listening. And that was actually in turn a reflection of some of my mindset shifts. It was actually a reflection, it was a match to the internal work that I was doing. So it was really beautiful to see family healing occur on one level as a result of my inner work as well.
Oh my gosh, it has been so beautiful to witness. I just have to say, like, even the joy of getting to like meet your mom myself, and but even just witnessing, the role she's been playing in your life and Elena's life, and it's just been beautiful. The way you guys have been able to now do your work separately and come together and now build this new relationship together as like two more healed and evolved people. So it's really been wonderful to witness.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, she loves you too. You're the adopted daughter, so.
That's so cute. And I also loved how you highlighted the power of releasing expectations too. I think that's so important.
Yeah, it's huge. You don't know what it's going to look like. And we often do that with our desires. But when we get to the essence of what we want and let go of all the other details, it can really come in a beautiful way, as Lauryn put. Yeah, for sure.
And even in regards to relationships with other people, it's almost making me think like ultimatums versus expectations.
Big
Like
difference.
if you had approached it, right? Like if you had approached it, until you do XYZ, I'm not talking to you. That is completely different than you just saying, I need to cut this for me.
Yeah.
No expectations, right? Like so different. But I think like we've all witnessed, it being handled the other way too in many situations, right? So
for sure.
very powerful concept that I think is seen throughout a lot of relationships.
Yeah, definitely true. And I'm looking forward to a future podcast involving family. I think so many people are going to relate to, and this will be talked about a little bit deeper. So,
yes.
So for mine, I also had a difficult time putting this one into words, but I think my biggest shift was more of my mindset around perfectionism and my perfectionism tendencies, because that is my favorite tool to let myself think I have control over stuff that I really don't. So I think in this way, like for example, like I try to do the same habit at the same time every single day, convinced that, if I did the same thing at the same time every single day, then I would get what I wanted. And like on a physical level, that can be true. Like if you work out at the gym every day, but, also don't forget to give yourself rest days and that sort of thing. But when you get into like other areas of life, that doesn't always equal the same thing. And so when it comes to like a state of mind that you're trying to build and a sense of like how you want to feel on the inside, doing the thing every single day that's going to help you get there is not always the healthiest or like the best way. So like, when I would slip up on stuff, it wasn't just a missed habit day for me. It was always a shame spiral, and it would cue like hopeless thoughts in me. Like, what's the point anyway? Like, I don't have energy to keep it up this way every single day. Like, this is not realistic. So like, why even try? And then also having ADHD adds another layer to this, because my energy levels, at least how it shows up for me, is my energy levels fluctuate so much from day to day. And so if I don't have the energy to do something one day, it can feel like failure and kind of double down on like my shame and stuff. So there's that pressure of trying to do your thing every day and have a rigid habit, but if it doesn't serve you, that's where my mindset kind of shifted, was like, well, if you're going to try to push yourself to do something that you're going to half-ass because you don't have the energy today, like, why don't you just allow yourself the rest that your body and mind is clearly asking you for? Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? And just show myself a little bit of like challenging my thoughts a little, like, what's the worst that could happen? And also to like remind myself that a big part of my journey has been understanding what my natural rhythms are, because functioning on life, or like raw dogging it, as some people say, without ADHD meds is not easy, but it is possible.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes from understanding my patterns, my energy, and all of my needs with my body and mind more deeply. So what I've found so far is that when I let myself not be perfect, but focus on like progress over perfection and allowing myself the time to rest, like when I am on lightning speed and I get a lot of stuff done. So like in reality, I am not behind. Like my rhythm just ebbs and flows differently than maybe a more like neurotypical person. So, accepting that I'm different. I'm not the same as everyone else, and someone else's ADHD might also present differently. So, I don't know. I think just, honoring the progress over perfection, and allowing myself to rest too.
But it sounds like your self-talk, like about the rest and you shifting your perspective on it. It sounds like you were so much more kind to yourself, rather than, hey, what if I let myself just have a day? That question, what's the worst that can happen? It's just like you shifted how you gave yourself pep talks and how you were coaching yourself. That inner talk is everything. And it sounds like that was a huge part of your mindset shift. Yeah. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah. And thank you. Raise the
Took a
roof,
step.
whoop, whoop. So I honestly, you saying that makes me reflect and have so much gratitude for the people and the culture here, because I feel like I owe a lot of that to them.
Oh.
If somebody is not dying, like it can wait. Whatever the thing is at hand, like it can wait. And like learning to hold space in like whatever like discomfort there is of like, oh, this has to get done. Like, look, it's not going to change anything except how you view it. If you're going to be worried about it and trying to get things done a certain way and be all rigid about it, like you're just going to enjoy the journey less.
I love
it will
that.
get done. You'd have to trust that.
You bring me to Neville Goddard. He, one of the pioneers of law of assumption and talked about all through the manifestation community. And he wants to go back home to Barbados. And his teacher, Abdullah, talks to him about, well, when he wants to settle for the idea of not being in first class, he's like, no, you already went to Barbados and you went in first class. And that's the idea that I just love, that idea of my journey being first class versus miserable in coach, right? If we're going on a journey and the goal, the end is where we want to get to, we still have an option of how we get there. So let's make it a good journey. I love it.
Yes, definitely. And I feel like some of this ties into like what my unexpected shift has been too. It's like funny because we're running a little parallel today. So for me, I think like I had career and relationship to myself shifts. And so being called to life coaching was probably one of the biggest shifts that I experienced this year. But I've always been the person who held out the belief that work doesn't have to feel like work or be this miserable thing that you have to force yourself to do every day. Like I kind of talk about things as being, and I may have even mentioned this in the last episode, but like you find your like soulmate romantic partner, you find your soulmate friends, you find your soulmate kind of workout, and you find your soulmate career, right? And so that was like that piece for me. But also like the mindset shift for me was like finally believing that I too can have a career that I love and enjoy. Because like it's so easy to feel like what you're bombarded with on social media every day is like this unattainable dream out there. So like I really shifted this year into believing that I can have a life that I want to. Like actually believing that I can have this. It's not just something I'm scrolling through and seeing these people living these absolute dream lives and traveling the world and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, now that's gonna be me. Like it was this like, oh, that would be like cool and all. But I feel like now I'm like, no, like this is happening. This is the trajectory I'm on. So I think that has been a really powerful shift. And I've also just never resonated with any career path more than I have with life coaching, because like it truly makes me feel fulfilled on a daily basis. And I feel like I wake up with like this fire of inspiration or like a new idea for my business or like, and sometimes it's out of the blue. Like I just wake up with like a brand new idea. Haven't even been dreaming about anything, but I just think it's like swirling around my subconscious or something. But also there's that joy piece there. And I haven't had that joy piece in my career before. And I think like feeling that career shift has helped me make that mindset shift of believing that I can have it too. So I think that was probably like the couple unexpected shifts that I had.
Well, and I think you're you're honing in on this kind of aspect for people where it might not be for them career, but a certain area in their life where it's just like, oh, I've got this money, but I don't have joy in relationships. Or for someone else, I have a relationship, whereas you, Lauryn, you're like, but it's always career. That's always, like perhaps it's an area for someone where that person out there can relate even though it's not specific to career, to where it's like, I want to believe that I can expand my joy, experience joy in all areas of my life. So, yeah, you're now living proof that you've expanded it to the one area that there was a bit of a stagnation in.
And now I'm doing what you said. First class, baby. Right? But choosing, and that's why I was like, I think what I'm going to say is tying in, because it's like choosing, right? Choosing. Like, I don't want to just be in coach, right? I want that first class life, that life that feels good in every area. Like you said, it's like I finally tuned this area that was giving me like a little bit more of a struggle up, and now like it really is manifesting itself, I feel like.
Yay.
I love that. I think it's so important for people to hear success stories of like honoring when your time is done with something, or when it feels stuck, or like there's no more growth ready, like available for you there. Then it's okay to try something new. Like, no matter how old you are, how long you've been in a job, or if you have medical benefits, like, I promise you will figure it out. But like, honor yourself and like what you really, really want and need.
Definitely. Yeah, I think a lot of people let outside influences affect that,
Right.
instead of like, what do you want? What do you actually want? What is actually going to make you happy? Like, who cares if people say it's too late to go back to school, or too late to, like turning off all that noise and actually sitting there and asking yourself what you want, what you desire, what makes you happy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
100%.
But now that we're talking about all this, let's take a little step deeper and talk about one belief we each let go of in 2024 that really shifted how we see ourselves or the world around us. Why don't you start us off with this one, Hannah?
I'm glad that you asked me, because it kind of ties into what we were just talking about. And my belief, literally, as I was walking through the doors of 2024, of 2025, was I'm not ready. Like, I let that go. I let go of I'm not ready when we came into 2025, because I felt like that the whole time. Our first year of living in Dominican Republic, I was like, I think I'm crazy. My friends and family think I'm crazy. Like, I don't feel ready to do this, and I used to really feel like I had to feel completely confident, fully prepared, perfectly qualified before I could start something that was meaningful to me, or to do something that was meaningful, whether it's, starting a podcast with my two best friends, or moving to a new country, or starting a life coaching business, or starting a tallow cream business. Like, those were things that I did to prove myself wrong in 2024. And so I let go of that coming into 2025. I was like, look, ready is a feeling that, it rarely shows up before the leap. It usually comes after. It's like a sense of like building trust with yourself, like through doing scary or new things. You learn that you are able to trust yourself, and maybe you won't ever really feel ready, but you can learn to trust yourself, that you will meet yourself where you need to in real time and be there for you. And that's really tied in a lot with like connecting that deeper relationship with myself while feeling kind of lonely. It's like I had that realization many times where I was like, oh, I've got my own back. Like, we'll do it. I'll make sure I take care of myself, and we'll be ready.
Yes.
That's a big one.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. If yours was, I'm not ready, mine was, I'm not worthy. And it wasn't like I was telling myself that. It wasn't like that's the thought that I was thinking in my head at all. No, it was like there was this moment for me where I think I looked in the mirror and just said, I'm worthy. I'm worthy. Whatever it was I was specifically thinking of having. Like, I'm worthy of having what I want. And I started to cry. I was like, whoa, okay, I guess I actually don't feel worthy. Like, I need to say that I'm worthy more. I am worthy. I am valued. I'm loved. Like, that's the true essence of any desire. We just want to have it because we know that we're worthy of it. We want to feel that love in having it. And so, yeah, for me, it also even expanded even further into I'm worthy of having every single thing that I want. What does that even look like? I'm worthy of, dreaming even bigger. Like I also uncovered that I was like dreaming within my limits, if you will. And so even expanding that, yeah, that belief had to go. The unworthiness that I didn't realize. It's like, well, I'm not telling myself I'm not worthy, but it was still a little bit an underlying thing there. So, yes, dropping the idea, the energy, because it wasn't an actual thought, but the energy of not being worthy and pumping in the worthiness. Yeah. What about you, Lauryn?
I think for me, it's kind of going off of a sentiment that I talked about a little bit earlier in this episode. But like, I specifically let go of the belief that I needed a certain title to give me value as a person. And I think that was a really big one for me because it took me a long time. I mean, as you guys know, I feel like it took a couple of years for me to actually like officially shed my skin of nursing.
Yeah.
And so I'm touching on it again here because I struggled a lot with not just letting go of nursing, but at first it was going from nursing to a stay-at-home wife role. And then with that, I felt like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think, right? And the judgments and all these like negative connotations and all these things got in my head with that, where like, are they going to see me as less valuable or a less worthy person, right? Or like all of these things just because I'm a stay-at-home wife right now, or are they just going to think I do nothing all day? Or, it was a lot of that like outside noise coming in. So not just struggling, leaving the identity of nursing, just adopting the stay-at-home wife without conditions. Because I think for a long time, it was, oh, I'm a stay-at-home wife, but I'm a nurse, right? Like when you're in a conversation and people are like, oh, what do you do? And it was like, I'm a stay-at-home wife, but I'm a nurse.
But
and
don't
it's like
judge
I felt
me.
this like bleh,
Yeah.
bleh, yeah, bleh. It's like I had this like vomit, right? That would always come up, but like justifying me, trying to make me look good in your eyes, right? Trying to give me value as a person. And that was so hard for me to shake. Like not following up, I'm a housewife with, but I'm a nurse. And it probably sounds like, oh, you're leaving one part of a sentence off. But it was like, no, I'm cutting off this identity that I no longer resonate with anymore, that no longer speaks to who I am and my character and who I want to be. And so, I mean, I even remember sitting around the campfire in your backyard, Hannah, like talking to you and Jason and Ira about it and being like, I'm really struggling with this, telling people that I'm a housewife. And honestly, I think it was that campfire conversation that reinstilled that love that I needed to feel, because it's almost like when I told you, you were like flabbergasted that I could even think that way about myself, right? And that's why you gotta love besties, because they see the best version of ourselves, right? The version that we don't always see. And it's just like, I feel like, even though I can't remember exact words, Hannah, I feel like your reaction was kind of like, what? You are so much more than that. Like it was like, how could you even think that like your quality of person is determined by this title? Like that means nothing. Like there's so much more to who you are and what you bring. And then I know Jason had chimed in and, Ira had chimed in too. And it's like, I felt that love in that moment. And I think that was like when it really hit me, like having the opportunity to be vulnerable with you guys with that and really say, I'm really uncomfortable with this. Really, like even speaking it out to my best friend and her husband, like it's like, oh, it makes me feel nervous inside, right? But obviously, like I felt comfortable enough to do it with you guys. But like actually speaking it out loud was like, this is something that makes me really uncomfortable. And then like the love that you guys met me with really showed me that people I actually care about and love and people that I want in my life, this is how they view me. So why do I even give a crap about how anyone else is going to view me? Because if they're trying to judge me by a title of nursing or not, then they're clearly not people I want in my life anyway. So I think like that was really enlightening for that aspect. But it also, letting go of that belief also helped me see my true value more and be more confident in my own skin and where I'm at in my life specifically. Because we go through so many ups and downs in life. Being okay with being a stay-at-home wife, and now I'm a life coach, but I still I don't know, I still feel a lot of stay-at-home wife vibes, So like it's kind of just like being comfortable in my own skin and just like loving me for me more has been like the result, I think, of letting that belief go, is just being more comfortable with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's mine.
I was just going to say that makes me so warm inside. But what about you, Aylen?
No, good on you. Sharing that love and making sure Lauryn knew who she really was. Had to remind her for a second there, huh?
Sometimes we need that.
I did. And I remember that conversation it's there in the files. But I think what I said to you was something along the lines or something to the effect of like, how could you ever believe that like your value is defined by like a title?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's millions of nurses out there, right? If we're just saying like nursing as a title, for example, each of those nurses brings a different quality of being to their life and to the people's lives around them. And you bring your own unique way of being. And for that is why I love you. I love who you are and how you show up as my friend when I really need you the most and when I'm really, struggling. I also love how you can make me roll on the floor laughing at some dumb shit. It's how in the ways that we connect with each other and like our ways of being and how we really truly love each other for who we are. And that's why we are friends. And to help you understand how to feel that for yourself, not just from me, that's why it makes me warm inside. I'm glad that you took that away from that conversation because I really do have so much love for you. You're my chosen family.
Oh, I love you too. I love you both.
Yes, but I was going to add that I guess yours is I'm not valued, or I'm not valued unless I have this title. I'm not valued without this, career or whatever it may be. So it's almost like maybe
I'm not enough, right? That piece
exactly
too.
What I was
I'm not
say.
enough without.
Yeah. So I'm no longer I'm not ready, no longer I'm not ready, and no longer I'm not enough. Dropping it, leaving it behind.
Oh, yes. So now that we've cleared some space by letting go, let's talk about what we're calling in. What's one big manifestation or goal each of us is holding for 2025, the why behind it, and how we actually plan to bring it to life? Because let's be real, aligned action matters just as much as the vision. We'll also share one small daily habit that helps us stay in sync with what we're calling in. And I will start us off with this one. So, I am calling in the booming success of our podcast and my life coaching business. My why is that helping people in this way truly gives me a sense of purpose and fulfillment, as I've mentioned. Plus, getting the chance to start a business with my best friends is an absolute dream. So I plan to make this happen by staying organized, setting reasonable and achievable goals for myself, and also having faith in myself and my capabilities, even when it does feel scary, because, that happens sometimes. But also continuing to just manifest that first class reality that I want, right? And for my small daily habit, I want to incorporate mindful moments into every day, even if they're small, just making sure that I do that, because I think this will help me make sure I'm prioritizing self-care and reflection and help me stay aligned with that why. Because we three have experience with burnout and know that lack of self-care is a slippery slope down that path. So I believe that daily self-care will be extremely beneficial to me. What about you, Aylen? What are you calling in?
Yeah, the goal I think I wanted to, even though I have several, I think the one I wanted to share is the podcast as well. I want it to be a success. I want it to reach more people as well. And I guess for me, it's a stepping back into coaching, coming out of the baby bubble and stepping back into my energy work and mentorship that I do. So it's been exciting to have sessions again. I've had clients again this year. And so just fostering more of that. The why is to reach people, expand my outreach, I guess, to those people that haven't heard, what I have to offer, and really, touch them in a different way and get them to see their light, get them to shine, get them to feel empowered again, and be their best self. So I guess my little daily habit, my small daily habit, as you put it, will have to be I am statements. And whether it's, I am worthy, as we were just talking about, or whether it's I'm capable. But I have also, even though it may not be daily, that habit is daily, but I also add looking at myself in the mirror and saying certain things. So affirmations that hold the I am in it has been a really, really good habit that I want to continue. And Hannah, what about you? Big goal for 2025.
I love y'all's goals. I feel guilty I didn't put the podcast in this one, but
How
is it
dare
too
you?
late to be like, yes, podcast?
Yes, you can add it. We'll let you add it in, just this one.
So my big goal right now, though, is just taking really good care of my body. And I want to get into shape in a way that feels strong and sustainable, but also honestly hot. Like I want to be hot because let's be real, I live on an island.
I know, sexy mama.
So I want to feel, confident and comfortable in my skin, whether I'm in a bikini or like wearing a cute new outfit, just, doing life around town. But my why goes deeper than that too, because I'm also heading into the last year of my 20s in June 20th. I'll be celebrating 29 years of life. And I've also been dealing with on and off low back pain for, I don't know, like about 6 years, stemming from my time working as an ICU nurse. And it took a really big toll on my body. And during that time, I started developing some flare-ups every now and again. And I'm still dealing with those flare-ups from time to time. Like, it's very manageable. I wouldn't say it's like the worst chronic pain ever for a 28-year-old, but it is kind of alarming to say like, hey, I'm only 28 and I've been dealing with low back pain. So I just want to be able to tend to my body so I can do the things I love, like traveling and dancing and future mom life. Something else I really want to do while here is learn how to kiteboard. And I want to be able to do those things without feeling limited or in pain. Like I want to feel strong and vibrant and sexy. So
yes.
I have also heard really good things about like when you've taken really good care of your body and built a strong foundation for like when you're ready to have a baby, then you have less complications typically during labor and delivery. So that's something else that ties into my deeper why is like I want to create a good home for my future little one.
Oh.
Yes. Well, and in all fairness, that has been health and my body as well has been one of my goals too. So it's fine that you didn't say podcast. Okay.
And Me too. I'm going to add that on for me.
Perfect.
We're stealing yours now, Hannah.
I was like, I know you guys might chime in on this one, but don't worry. I got your back. I'll let you chime in just this once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
right
been
there with
sharing
you.
our, our health stuff, our physical pains, Lauryn with her journey, me with even my root canal stuff. We've got so many future podcasts here that are going to be great to talk about. So yeah, health in the body is a goal for all three of us too. So great.
Yeah.
Glad you shared that one.
Every day you'll catch me out doing something, whether I'll be walking with my dogs or I've picked up running again, which has felt so good. It's not easy, but it makes me feel good after. So
Yes.
Or like at-home workouts and stuff like that. But I also do honor my body with rest. So it's just every day checking in with my body to see where I'm at.
Yes. We're right there with you. Manifesting that too. Now, before we keep going, we want to invite you all into this conversation with us. So we invite you to grab a journal or just take a quiet breath and even pause the podcast if that feels good to you and take a moment to reflect on the following questions. What would your dream life look like by the end of 2025? What limiting beliefs might you need to release to truly step into that version of yourself? And what's one small action you can take today to start aligning with that vision? Remember, your clarity starts with curiosity. So, as we look ahead with intention, let's each share the one word or theme that we want to carry into 2025, something that captures the energy, the focus, or the vibe that we want to embody this year going forward. Aylen, what word or theme are you carrying into 2025?
Yes, and I almost was thinking it might have been the same word that we were talking about with being evolved and evolution. But I think I actually feel more drawn to empowerment and not limiting myself. I've talked about how you enriching your joy and expanding it into career, and then even me with expanding how I am tapping into my thoughts and emotions, and the worthiness, just stepping out of the limits that I've created, that are self-created, and feeling more powerful, more empowered to do what I want, to bring in what I am worthy of. So empowerment is the theme I'm carrying in 2025.
I love it. And this is great because verbalizing it, we're going to hold each other accountable. It is recorded empowerment.
Yes. It's on record, folks.
Oh my goodness. Mine is gratitude. That's the word I'm carrying into 2025 because I think I did myself a disservice in 2024 of not allowing myself to feel more good things while parts of my life kind of felt like a dumpster fire. But being able to hold two different emotions at once. But you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier with you sharing about how when you're doing work around your emotions and thoughts and just the power that those things can hold over you. If you allow yourself to spiral and just go and you don't pay attention to it and you don't stop it and introduce something else there, you just feel stuck. And I think just being able to acknowledge that sometimes things aren't the way that you like them, but there's always room to find gratitude, even if it's something that is completely unrelated. Like I have running water today that I can drink. And there's people here in this country who might not have access to that. So that even hits closer to home. I can afford this, which might be considered a luxury. There's ways to feel grateful. And I think alongside any emotion or thought that feels challenging or uncomfortable for me, gratitude has always been a wonderful balance and helping me expand my mental state, I guess, to where I don't feel so stuck. It allows me room to grow and like play and feel good, even at times where I might not feel on top of the world, you know? So for me, it's gratitude.
Finding beauty in the little moments of every day.
Yeah.
Good one.
For me, my word is definitely authenticity.
Yeah.
Right? I mentioned those people pleaser tendencies, but it's like, although I've made like so much progress, this year, I really, really want to make sure I'm staying authentic to myself, what I'm feeling, what I want, and just not compromising it to make other people happy or to fit in, right? Like, I think it's easy to want to have that knee-jerk reaction, you know, to try to make other people happy when you grew up a people pleaser. So I think just being authentic to just how I'm feeling and just doing that check-in. And that's kind of what I've been doing with myself is if I'm feeling a type of way, I kind of do a little check-in. Or if somebody asks me to do something or asks me, you know, asks something of me, I do a mini check-in now where I'm like, okay, do I want this or do I not want this? And I kind of listen to the intuition, see how it feels in my body. And then I go based off of that. And sometimes like it's a no. And sometimes it's not super clear why my body's like, no, but I honor it because it's protecting myself. Because sometimes our body knows things that aren't quite up in the conscious yet. So I think just living authentically is going to make me feel the best. So that is mine.
I
Good
love
one.
that.
Yeah. And so,
Good
yes. So hold me accountable. Authenticity.
Yeah.
So as we reflect on everything we learned and experienced, it's only natural to think about what we do differently or what wisdom we'd pass along if we could go back and whisper in our own ears. So let's look at that. What's the best advice we'd give our past selves going into a new year? Hannah, what would that advice be for you?
I think with how busy the year was for me with adjusting to new life here, there really was so much to do with learning the new language and then like trying to find a job and then starting a new job and also still keeping up with my coaching practice and traveling. There was lots going on. And if I could go back even to just a year ago and tell myself to stop feeling guilty when all I really want to do is rest and to tell her that you're not lazy or unmotivated or falling behind. You're just tired. Let yourself, like, what is the worst that could happen? And just take a look at your life, like, really take a step back and look and see why you are so tired. Validate yourself. It's okay that you've been carrying so much. You don't have to earn your rest or get to a certain point before you can rest. It's not going to change how you feel when you rest. If you keep telling yourself you have something to do on your checklist, just let yourself rest without guilt, is what I would tell her.
I love that. I think a lot of people need to hear that too, because there's such hustle culture, right? And so much go, 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 do, now, like do this, do that, do this, do that. And you know, our body is sending us signals for a reason. And it's easy to say, oh, am I just being lazy or am I just being this or that? But it's like, no, our bodies need rest, right? And so I think it's really great that you've been tuning more into that for yourself and giving yourself what you need.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a real big process trying to trust myself that nothing good is going to pass me by just because I pause. Like, I'm still growing. I'm still on my journey. I'm still worthy. I'm still exactly where I need to be, whether I'm doing something physically or if I'm just being and like enjoying my own presence, chilling on the couch.
But sometimes the best things come to us in the pause. You know,
True.
like if you don't stop, sometimes you can't smell the roses, right? Like if we go back to that saying and it's like sometimes you literally need to stop. Sometimes you literally need to rest to actually have things come through for you or, you know, or an idea come through or inspiration or motivation. It's like you have to slow down to even see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true. I was just thinking, though, what you said before, Lauren, that it's going to resonate with a lot of people because I do think that's So true.
Yeah. I think we all need to hear it. I need to hear it too.
I'm beating a dead horse here, but it's like, it's crazy because even if, like, I also want to tell our listeners, like, it doesn't matter if you're on vacation in like the tropics or if you are just on your off day at work. It's kind of a state of mind that you are able to put yourself in, like, just to like release that guilt. Because I'll even be down here by the pool with the palm trees swaying and it's like January, February. Your girl is living her life, right? But still, you think I'd be the most relaxed person in the world. But even in those times, I have struggled with guilt of like, I need to do something. I need to be working right now. I need to be doing this. Da, da, da. I will give myself 1,000 reasons why I don't deserve to just rest that one time, when the last time I did it was maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I just wanted to share a little bit about how that like actually shows up in my life and how I call myself out on it.
Yeah. So me, if I were to give my past self advice, I almost get kind of tearful just thinking about it, like loving myself, loving myself or mothering myself, if you will. It's like, what I would say to her is I would remind her that she's the prize, that you are what you really want. We always are looking outside of ourselves. We're always thinking it's, that reunion or that it's a person, a place, or a thing. That's what I'm thinking. But it's actually, how having that is going to make you feel or going to make you believe something about yourself. And you can tap into that at any moment. You can have that now. You're it. You're the prize. You're what you really want. And you already have you. So tapping into that, I would really remind that old Aylen that if you, stay centered in what's already inside, it will simplify so many things that you're making, so huge and so distant from you.
Yes, I love that. I think for me, it's if I could go back and whisper in my own ear, it would be being open to any new possibilities and not getting stuck in a certain mindset or belief. Like just staying fluid with how things come to you and how things in your life can unravel, right? Because I think we have these predetermined ideas sometimes of like, I want, XYZ, and it's going to come to me like this, right? We've all had these conversations before where it's like totally in a way that you would not expect is how it actually comes to you, right? But like we're almost our own block, I think, when we have too rigid of an idea of how we want something to happen. And in hindsight, I've seen so many times that I've done that to myself where I've been that block. I've tunnel visioned a way that I think something is supposed to happen. And once I actually let that expectation or that view of it go, then it unravels almost instantly. It's like once you let go of how you think it's supposed to happen, it happens. So I would definitely go back and tell myself to just, hold on to what you want, but be open to how it comes to you. And also to always make sure to take time to pause and reflect, because that's when the best answers reveal themselves. Or as you guys know, when I'm peeing, apparently the best ideas come to me. but like I think that is the advice I'd give myself, is to like not forget to pause and reflect and to just stay fluid, loosey-goosey with how the beautiful things in life I want are going to come.
Beautiful.
Yes. As you say, snaps.
Finger snaps. So now that we talked about what we tell our past selves, let's shift the focus to our present and future. What's one habit or mindset shift that we're going to personally commit to in the new year? I'll start us off for this one. So stemming off of what I just talked about earlier, I want to keep up the habit of, like I said, staying true to my authentic self and within my authenticity in all situations. And knowing that I'm more than the title that I carry, right? Like I contribute so much more. And I know I'm kind of reiterating what we talked about earlier, but that mindset shift that I am enough, knowing that who Lauryn is and what Lauryn brings to the table is enough. And the right people will see that and want to be up in this energy, And yeah, because I just feel like I've definitely been somebody prone to masking, right? As we've heard that term a lot now, or just changing things about myself or how I feel to fit in certain situations. And I just want to stay strong in who I am in all moments, regardless of who I'm around. So I am enough. That is what I am committing to this new year. How about you, Hannah?
Well, there's a couple, but just circling back to what we had talked about before, I definitely will be checking in with and moving my body every day and just deepening the relationship I have with her. But also, I think my mindset shift is kind of related to the letting go of the belief of I'm not ready. I think the shift is trusting myself. I'm committing to trusting myself, knowing my natural rhythms, when I need to slow down, when it's time to speed up, and, just letting that look however it's supposed to and letting that unfold in its own way and not trying to fit in someone else's box. Because some days I'm on fire and some days I just need to rest. But I think for me, that's been a big reason why burnout shows up over and over again, is not honoring that. So I'm ready to start breaking that cycle. And I've come to firmly believe that tuning into my energy and honoring those needs and balancing that with hard work pays off in the long run, far better than, just burning myself out and pretending like I'm super disciplined. I want to honor showing up and giving progress, not perfection.
Mm. So for me, I want to commit to following the idea of what would the version I want to be do? What would the version I want to be think or be feeling? And call that in. Like asking myself throughout the day has been really amazing. Like, am I reacting to this like the Aylen that knows who she is? Or am I being that small version of myself that's, reacting or that's getting triggered or whatever it may be? When I pause and I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to take what this person says in that way, or whatever example pops into my head. I think Hannah's resonating with it.
I'm over here, I'm like snapping and air clapping, like, yes, ma'am. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Yeah. So it's been really wonderful to do that. And yeah, so keeping myself accountable throughout the day in doing that. I'm just going to keep that up because it's been working. I have just been feeling better and better, things unfolding in my life. You guys have known with my husband's health, with just even the environment in my home, all kinds of different things that they keep just unfolding one after the other. So I'm just got to keep going on the path that I'm on. And as well as, I think another thing I want to commit to is allowing the love, the bliss, the fulfillment now without whatever thing, object that I'm wanting to be present. I can see it in my imagination. I can do whatever I need to do to just give it to myself now. That also, it just like emanates in other ways too. It starts reflecting in different ways in all areas of my life as well. So the last little thing I've really enjoyed is I want to keep listening to my mentors, these influencers and YouTubers that I have really connected with that are, my coaches, that are my teachers, that are inspiring me on a really deep level. And I'm like, they've got it. They've got the mindset thing down. They understand spirituality on the level where a lot of people claim to be, but you can hear in their message that there's something missing. I'm so thrilled that I have found the people that are, as we are wanting to pump in 2025, authentic. And so in saturating my ears with these people's voices and their messages, that's also been just emanating through my life now as well. And it's like making me feel like one of them. I'm peer level with these people. So I know I want to continue that daily habit as well.
Love it. I'm so proud of us.
Ladies, I just wish us nothing but blessings for 2025 and 2035, 45, 55 and beyond.
Yes,
I think we've really got a beautiful foundation in our awareness of what we want, where we've been, and where we're going. I think we're really stepping into something beautiful.
Absolutely.
And I love you. I love you guys.
I love you too. I love you both.
I love you guys too.
And I'm just so glad we get to do this life and this journey together.
Yes.
Me too. And I hope I was thinking about this here towards the end of like the value of listening to a conversation like this that someone else might take away, to see what it looks like for how some people set their goals and how deep they really dive into what's important to them. And I honestly believe that is the best way to achieve your goals. The deeper you can find connection to them, and then to double down and share it with people you care about and who you know will lovingly hold you accountable to those goals too.
Yes. It's kind of like the whole, when you like realize it, it's powerful. When you write it down, it gets more power. When you speak it out loud, it gets even more power. When you say it to someone else, right, it gets even more power. So we are broadcasting our stuff out there, really, really getting in that power, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that is a wrap on today's episode. So as you step into 2025, remember, your growth is worth celebrating, your dreams are worth pursuing, and you are more than enough just as you are. Take some time to reflect, journal on the questions we shared, and DM us your biggest goal for the year. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and we'll see you next Wednesday, where Aylen is going to bring us some manifestation madness, and we will look at debunking the myths and truths of manifestation. Remember to stay aligned, take inspired action, and trust in your journey. 2025 is yours to create. Until next time, keep growing, keep glowing, and always trust in your own bestie perspective.